friends, Kahn here. Thanks for coming back to the channel. This tutorial is going to be on reggae bass. Now, if you've been following me along in the last couple of videos, you've heard how to make realistic drum sounds with samples. So I've got these drum sounds from the last video loaded up here with a couple of different progressions, and we're going to play along with the bass. So let's talk a little bit about bass tone. Now this is a jazz bass, an American 5-string Marcus Miller jazz bass, and it's plugged straight in DI to the computer, and this is what it sounds like. Kind of honky, kind of mid-rangey. So let's look at some processing here. Actually, before I do that, let me just explain that if you play closer to this neck pickup, it's deeper tone. So let's hear that. And if you play closer to the bridge, it's more of a twangy tone. The deeper, further you get, the deeper. Now for reggae, kind of the sweet spot is like right here, right in front of the neck pickup. Versus, you know, if you're playing rock or jazz, that might be an okay tone. But for reggae, we want to cut out some of those mid-range frequencies. So that's what I'm doing here. So let's listen to that. So if I play it right here, it's nice and deep, it's articulate. And also, you might have noticed there's some foam here. Forget where I got this foam, but it is really nice in there, and it kind of dampens the sound. And that is awesome, I've found. Flabaholt from the Roots Radix, his jazz bass has foam in this exact spot. So I just tried it recently. For the longest time, I didn't use it, but I just started putting it on, and it's awesome, man. The notes, they still ring out, but it just has like a certain familiar round kind of tone, and it's nice. Let's look at this. This is a compressor. So you can hear it get like going a little bit quieter. It's got 3 dB of gain reduction, and then listen to it when I stop playing and it gets louder again. It's like boo-wah, boo-wah. And it's subtle, but it adds a little bit of breath, a little bit of life. It's nice. So that's all I'm going to be using in this. Now that we talked a little bit about tone and where to play, you know, you kind of want to play here. If you want it to be real deep, you want to play back here. If you want it to be a little bit more articulate or twangy sounding. And let's play along. The first progression I have here is E major to D major. Now E major is E to the 3rd to the 5th. Those are all really the only notes you would play. I mean, you can play all of them. But really for reggae, I mean, if you just play the root and the 3rd, or the root and the 5th, and then we're going down a whole step, you know, those are the notes that you're going to play. But it's going to be faster than that. Let's just listen. So you're going to start on the E to the D. We're going to add a little bit of variation. So you can see that I'm playing E, B, which is the fifth, so you could play it here or here. So just E, the fifth, then the root of the next chord, which is down a step to D. So you could literally play a bass line with those three notes. This is the lower octave. That's the E. Or if you don't have a 5-string, right? Open. Now in reggae, it is super important to have a nice rest, especially on a one-drop song like this. So you'll listen. Rest. 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 That's a rest in the beginning, so let's put a rest somewhere else. Rest. 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 It's always good to have a rest where the one drop is. And another kind of, I guess, simple guide is you can always start on the one, and you can do two notes like this. Like this. Bam, bam, ba-bam, bam, bam, bam. Rest. 1, 2, something. 1, 2. Or 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Those are some good starting points. Okay, so we played that rhythm a lot. Now let's go on to something that's a little bit more minor, and by a little bit, I mean a lot of it. So this is C sharp minor. That's the third of C sharp minor to G sharp minor. Or it's like the A to D, you know, if I was a half step up, that kind of thing. And it's just going to go back and forth, and there's a ton of rhythms like this. But you notice that we're going to be playing the root, which is, C sharp minor. Then we're going to go up 2 frets to the next one, which is A sharp, which is the minor second of this one. So to the minor third, which is E in this case, because we're still in the key of E, but now we're down in some other chords that are in the minor zone of the scale. So if you listen to that, it's very minor, right? And then you're just going to go down a string and play the same 3 notes. It's kind of ominous sounding, right? But it's super heavy. You might have heard this one. So we're starting with the 5th, actually. We're starting with the 5th of the, so here's C sharp. We're starting on the 5th of that, then going down to the 3rd, to the 2nd, down to the root. And you could play. Really, this is the, they're kind of just stopping when the other chord is playing, which is, So let me show you some, let's play something else. So it's just, all I'm doing is I'm leaving some room for the drums. I'm doing a little bit of a rest in there, and I'm just using these 6 notes, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then maybe the 5th, which is the 5th of the root is actually the 2nd chord, so it's, you can play it, right? Or the 5th here. So let's talk a little bit about some advanced techniques also, and that's some slides, and as well as we need to talk about string muting, because string muting is super critical in reggae bass. So if I play and I don't mute any strings, it'd sound like this. See, it's just like, it's messy. So every time I pluck the note with my middle finger, I stop the note. So, right? But on top of that, I'm not just using my right hand, I'm also pulling off of the string, and maybe I use it a lot. So sometimes you hear that wing, it's like the upper harmonic of it. So you can slide into the note like this. So let's play that. So if I don't mute the string with my right hand and I just mute the string with my left hand, or just pull off, it kind of, the note resonates there, but it's like just barely there. And it's kind of cool to have that little bit of variation versus, see, it's completely quiet versus this. You can kind of hear it. The string, it's like a harmonic. So you can still hear it. Right? You don't have to mute the note completely, is my point. So let's talk about slides. Obviously, I'm doing it way more than often, but you can hear how adding those slides is adding something, just, you know, it sounds more pro or intermediate or whatever you want to call it. You know, if you slide into the note, the listener might go, oh, whoa, what was that? You know, or on a big crash, you can go. So you want to start on the root and then come back to the root, or start on the root and end on the 5th or the 7th. And also you can slide down to the root. Let's do that. Like this. Another cool one is, instead of playing the actual first note, you do a bend up on that first note. Like this. Like if this was the bass line. Or down. Right? I'm doing it every time just to show you guys, but there's a lot of really cool things that you can throw in there just every once in a while, and it adds some really cool flavors to your bass playing. Now, because reggae is super, super repetitive, when you have those little bit of variations, it's kind of cool, you know? Obviously, you don't want to go too crazy with it like I just was right there, but that was just to show you a couple of ways that you can do it. But anyways, let's move on to the next chord progression. You might know this one. You might have heard it before. So did you hear that? See, I'm sliding in, and then I'm releasing my finger just ever so slightly and sliding back out like this. See, there you go. That was a good one. Yeah, so it's, there you go. So you don't, in order to do that slide back down, you just don't mute it with your plucked hand. Right? And then you do. Like that. So let's kind of dissect that last bass line. It's the root, and then now we're going down to F sharp minor, back to the G sharp minor. So it starts with the C sharp minor. Sorry. So then we're playing the high octave of the G sharp minor to the fifth, to the lower root, and then down to the next root of the next chord, which is F sharp minor. And then we're playing just the root and the third back of the G sharp minor, back to the root of the beginning. So anyways, I've kind of showed you guys a little bit about the tone, sort of where I play, a few little licks that you can do yourself. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.